Let's declare the meeting open and advise this ordinary council meeting is being live streamed and recorded in accordance with the city's live streaming and recording council meeting policy. By being present at this meeting, members of the public consent to the city recording and live streaming their image and or voice. Could I call upon the Deputy Mayor to welcome us to country?
Thank you, Worship. I'll begin by acknowledging my elders past and present. Ngalak nini kuru ngala nois nijin nonga boja. Nonga mutjerpen nijin and kwabarak nonga boja kuralong. From the beginning of time to the end, this is Noongar country. Noongar people have been graceful keepers of our nation for many, many years. Jidin Kadijin Jerpen Nijawan Noongar Bojang Alama Ma Borda. Look, listen, understand, and embrace all the elements of Noongar country. This is forever our home. Kaiwan Jungan Ko Jerpen Niji Noongar Boja Darjali Wangin Noongar Boja. Hello and welcome. My heart is happy as we're gathered on country and meeting here on Noongar country this evening.
It also gives me great pleasure to welcome you all here, and before commencing proceedings, I too would like to acknowledge that we come together tonight on the traditional lands of the Noongar people and pay our respects to elders past and present. Could I call upon Councillor Acker to read the dedication?
May we, the elected members of the City of Kwinana, have the wisdom to consider all matters before us with due consideration, integrity, and respect for the council chamber. May the decisions made be in good faith and always in the best interest of the greater Kwinana community that we serve.
Attendance, apologies, leave of absence previously approved. We have Councillor Kearney. Public question time. Is there any questions from the public? Do council have petitions or presentations? There is no deputations. Confirmation of the minutes held the meeting the 6th of August. Is there any additional information?
Nothing further, Mr. Mayor.
Councillors have any questions? Someone like to move that way? Moved. Councillor Rouse, seconded Councillor Wood. Would either councillors wish to speak? Speak against? Put the motion to the vote. All those in favour? Against? Motion carried. Does anyone have a declaration of interest? Nil. Request for leave of absence. There's nothing on item 10, 11, 12, 13 on block reports. Nil. 14.1 Kwinana Trails Network Master Plan. Is there any additional information?
Nothing further, Mr. Mayor.
Councillors have any questions? Councillor Penny?
Thank you very much. A small preamble to my questions. So the Kwinana Trail Master Plan is an overarching document that sets a framework and vision for the upgrades and resurfacing of the walk trails, signage, and increasing the accessibility, and also introduces features that support mountain bike riding in the region. It sits over the previously passed Kwinana Loop Trail Plan, which has been described as a hero experience, a champion of the other trails, which will link in and form this amazing network. While the Loop Trail plans are more progressed than the overarching Trails Master Plan, it does transverse significant Noongar sites and areas of ecological significance, and as well as being an area that many people already use to walk and recreate in. Can you speak to the engagement process with local elders, and what opportunities are there for local people to have input into the design and layout of the walk trails as they progress?
Through you, Your Worship. Each stage will have a slightly different engagement focus depending on where we are delivering and the purpose of that site specifically. So when we talk about engaging with local Aboriginal people and local elders, for all projects we have had our overarching engagement with Bullamara, with the MAC and Nulli Yorgawongan and other Aboriginal organisations. But as we get into the detailed design, we'll be engaging more specifically on site. So a really good example is we've got an upcoming visit to various places on the Loop Trail with representatives from Bullamara to better understand each site. And part of their role is to also talk to community to make sure we are speaking to the right people. For general community, as we work through each location, we'll engage with either interested parties for that. For example, mountain bikes would engage with mountain bikers, but each stage of detailed design, I guess, will have separate engagement processes in place.
Great, thank you. And once this plan is passed, should it be passed this evening, how tangible are the opportunities for local elders and the broader community to shape and influence the development of this trail network?
Through you, Your Worship. So each stage is very tangible at the moment, and I think if we look at the Loop Trail in the first stage of that, we've been out on site looking at the different locations and how we use Aboriginal heritage to make sure we are not impacting on certain valuable spaces. So there's definitely, this is a very broad plan at the moment, and each detailed design will have significant influence from community.
Great, thank you. I also have a question that was forwarded to me by a community member, and she said, like, it was local Medina resident Anna Parker, and she spoke to me and she said that she thought that the Trails initiative was a great idea, as long as the upgrades work around existing trees and not through them, and that there is provision to keep the dirt bikes out on an ongoing basis. Could you speak to that?
Through you, Your Worship. So each stage, again, we'll look at environmental factors, and I will keep coming back to the Loop Trail. In the first stage of that, we had an environmental survey complete to make sure any work, we're either not, but the ultimate aim is not to have to move many trees. If we are, we have a plan in place for re-veg and not the minimal impact on the environment. So each stage will definitely be looking at the environmental factors. I think they're the two main factors are the environmental impact and the Aboriginal heritage impact when we're looking at impact for each model.
Right. And just one more final question. The proposed upgrades and development may involve shifts in topography as well, and some sort of major earthworks. Could the city speak to whether these works will trigger a DA, or what other sort of approvals are required for this level of work, and what provisions are made around Aboriginal heritage and monitoring of those sites?
Through you, Your Worship. So each stage of the works would require separate approval, so there's lots of areas where work will be undertaken, and each of those properties, whether they're a Crown Reserve, unallocated Crown, owned by the city and our management, they'll all have different management criteria, so there'll be different approval processes for each area, and they'll be tackled as they come up as part of that early planning and scoping processes for each one.
Right. I recall I have got one more question. Sorry, I'm really knocking it out of the park tonight. And it's just in terms of through you, Mr. Mayor, in terms of the economic opportunities that will be realised and released through this Loop Trail. And I'm really interested, I know there's been a lot of conversation about the potential for new businesses to flourish around this network, but there's also a potential to support existing businesses, and potentially through looking at ways in which we link and connect that Loop Trail through Medina and to the Pace Road shops. It's quite interesting that there's we've got BMX infrastructure there, like another biking infrastructure in that vicinity that creates quite a cool channel up to the Pace Road shops. So what plans or provisions are in place in terms of that deeper dive into releasing the economic potential over a number of years around this trail? Because at the moment this is a great scoping and visioning document, but yeah, how does that intersect with a more detailed economic plan?
Through you, Your Worship. So on our project group, we've got our economic development manager, and we've already engaged Destination. This is from the tourism side of things. We've already engaged Destination WA and uploaded the Loop Trail, and the Loop Trail, as you mentioned, Councillor Penny, is the hero trail, onto Trails WA website. We will start working with businesses as we've got better timeframes for construction and completion. It's probably too early to work closely with local businesses when there's a fair bit of work still to go behind the scenes, particularly with certain approvals at different sites as well. But it's really, we will be having a strategy and working with all local business, existing and new, to try and draw people into the areas through the connections with other locations like the BMX track in Medina. If we are looking at bicycle paths and the cycle plan in the future as well, we'd see how we can improve connectivity to the Loop Trail. You know, it's such an easy access point from that northern hub that if we can get people to it on bike easily, we'll definitely build those connections in as well.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Any other questions? Councillor Brown?
Thank you, Your Worship. I think as a resident, as a councillor, I haven't seen to date so much info on, I guess, the city's existing trails in one spot before. Does the city intend to use some of this information in the shorter term to, I guess, celebrate and promote what currently exists to our residents? I think you mentioned Trails WA in earlier communication in the meeting, but I think some local residents may not go there as a first point to find out about existing trails.
Through you, Your Worship. So there's a couple of stages that are happening with creating more awareness. Part of stage one of and I am going back to the Loop Trail again, stage one of the Loop Trail is developing our signage and branding strategy for all of trails. We're also, in the next couple of months, aiming to create a network and connection of community champions who use the different trails existing. We've already got some people that we know are very active and very interested in the Loop Trail, so we're wanting to create that word of mouth approach with the local community. We need to be really careful with the balance at the moment of heavily promoting the Loop Trail while it hasn't been upgraded, because people coming into the area with the degraded tracks currently wouldn't have the same experience. So really targeting local community members to have them on board with the trail project as a whole. And then as the upgrades start, we'll aim for people coming outside of the area.
Could I ask like a follow-up question, perhaps around some of the lesser-known non-hero trails that exist in Kwinana? Is there any opportunity in the short term to promote some of those via the city's kind of website, social media and things like that? Again, I think I even learned some things that I didn't know already from this document, so I think I'm quite excited that others may be able to experience the same there.
Through you, Your Worship. Yes, definitely. So this process, and it actually started with the Loop Trail, we realised how many hidden trails we had within Kwinana, and this is how the Network Master Plan project began. So absolutely there's opportunity to promote those lesser known trails as well. Wildflower Walk is extremely popular, but we've got all the mosaics and the other small trails as well.
Yeah. Thank you.
Councillor Sargent?
Thank you, Mayor Feasy. Could the city speak to if this document is approved, will this give you leverage for potential funding opportunities as they arise, because you've already looked at your strategic plan to go forwards to help, I guess, speed the process of the completion of this project?
Through you, Mr. Mayor. Absolutely, we need this plan as a framework to then enable us to position funding opportunities for further stages of our trail network. Not only for the development of the trail network as well, but then it also provides opportunities for advocacy for funding for supporting capital infrastructure, which may go into supporting the trails network. And coming back to, as Fiona said, the Loop Trail sort of being the hero trail. having that plan has enabled us, as you're aware, to get funding for stage 1 as well as stage 2, which is the mountain bike jump park as well. So absolutely, this is a key document.
Any other questions? Someone like to move that item? Move Deputy Mayor, seconded Councillor Sargent. Would either councillors wish to speak?
Thank you, Your Worship. I'd like to appreciate the work and effort put into it. It's quite a significant document. And as Aboriginal people, we carry a responsibility to look after country, not only the land itself, but also the water, the animal, plants, and the connection to the place. It's not a place where we walk, it is who we are, and this is an integral part of Kwinana being amongst the City of Trees. And any plan that shapes how people move through and experience the Loop Trail and the country around it must recognise the deep cultural connection. I welcome the intention to expand and improve the Kwinana's trail network through this master plan, and we see an opportunity for it to reflect and embed Aboriginal values of caring for country and the principles throughout its design and construction, and look forward to the long-term management, which includes the cultural recognition and protection, in consideration for cultural areas of significance, listening to advice of Aboriginal knowledge holders, and having the community involved and early in the process as soon as we can to identify these places. Also, signage and storytelling along the trails, which should reflect the connection to the local history, ensuring that walkers, riders and visitors understand the landscape that they're on and which they are passing through to enhance their experience and connection to these trails. Also, in relation to environmental stewardship, the caring for the country means that we're looking for not only just the trails, but the ecosystem that supports the trails, and it should be planned to protect the bushland, waterways and native species where possible, and seeking advice from the relevant government agencies to support for rehabilitation in degraded areas where they should arise. We're also looking at the network of plants that are there and identifying the cultural uses, and there should be guides around specific vegetation which is unique to this area. It also should be considered a place where there's connection and healing. It's not only to serve recreation, but also offer opportunities for visitors to reflect, to heal, and to be aware of the cultural learning and significance of the places, with quiet connections and gathering points incorporated in the trail for rest points and breaks, so that they can enjoy the experience at their own leisure. And also like to highlight the partnership with the governance with the Aboriginal community involvement, which is definitely needed, as my fellow councillor Penny has alluded to, not just during the consultation, but in the governance and the care of the network into the future, which may include opportunities through ranger programs or partnerships and agreements, not only for traditional owners, but also any other enterprise that may arise or eventuate from this opportunity. By embedding the systems and the principles for the caring for country in this trail master plan, which is evident throughout the document, which I'm very proud to say is a common theme through this document about how we care for country and look after country that is part of the City of Kwinana. And I ask that my fellow councillors commit to walking this path together with the Aboriginal community and anyone who uses it and visits it, and seeks it as a place for respite or for healing or connection back to nature. So it's not only to be heard, but to become a part of the way the trail is designed, built and cared for future generations. Thank you.
Councillor Sargent.
Thank you, Mayor Feasy. I completely agree with Deputy Mayor Winmar and his statements. I would just like to add, for the last 17 years, my family has been a proud walker of Wally's Walk. It might be a baby trail in this lovely document. I highly commend the team for all of your work to tie together the opportunities that Kwinana presents while maintaining, again, your environmental stewardship to such a high level with great community consultation. Kwinana has some very beautiful current trails to know that the city is recognising and actively advocating to be able to expand, support and build a healthy lifestyles network for our community is a fantastic initiative, and thank you to everyone that's been a part of it.
Would anyone like to speak against? I'll put the motion to the vote. All those in favour? Against? Motion carried. I look forward to the commencement of the construction of, or reconstruction of the Loop Trail. I regularly use sections of the Loop Trail through Leader Nature Reserve. I can actually see the trail from my driveway, so it certainly will be a great asset to the community. Item 14.2, naming of Thomas Oval Change Room Facility. Is there any additional information?
Nothing further.
Councillors have any questions? Would someone like to move that way? Move, Deputy Mayor, seconded Councillor Rouse. Deputy Mayor, maybe you could tell us how to pronounce the name
Thank you,
correctly.
Your Worship. Would like to commend the council on the early engagement with the Aboriginal community on this facility. It is a significant area. There are registered sites in close proximity to this facility, and as some of you may be aware, it was where my grandmother camped, not far from this site. So it is of significance to my family and to lots of families that are in this area, and it's definitely a significant place for the nesting of the whistling kite, which is what it's named after. Jandu Maya, which is called the place of the whistling kite. And I would like to commend the officers on the involvement and engagement with community and where we are at now, and through the Bullamara, through the support, through the project throughout, and look forward to many years of community having access to the facilities and with it being in the upgraded state and access to that area and those playing fields for years to come. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Rouse.
Thank you, Your Worship. Yes, I concur with the Deputy Mayor on all those points he makes, and I'd just like to here also say that it's appropriately named for the area, and I'd like to thank the BMAC for their input and their recommendation. This was one of the first presentations the BMAC committee received of significance, and one of the first recommendations they were able to make this council. So I appreciate their input and fully support the motion. Thank you.
Would anyone like to speak against? Put the motion to vote. All those in favour? Against? Motion carried. There's nothing on item 15, 16, 17, 17.1 Underground Power Program MOU. Is there any additional information?
Nothing further, Mr. Mayor.
Councillor, have any questions? Councillor Penny.
Thank you very much. I actually have a question from a community member, Emma McGivern, and she wanted just some clarification around if it's high power as well as the low power lines that will be placed underground, as the power lines along Pace Road carry both high voltage or high power and low power lines. Thank you.
Mr. Elkins.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, no, it is only the low voltage. So there isn't a program that does the high voltage. So no.
Any other questions? Someone like to move that way? Moved. Councillor Acker, seconded Councillor Sargent. Councillor Acker, wish to speak?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I support this program, as do 71% of the residents that were surveyed. Now is the cheapest it will ever be. The program is obviously triggered by end-of-life replacement. Homeowners can spread the cost over 5 to 10 years. The benefits are safer streets, fewer power outages, better lighting, higher property values, greener suburbs, so no more heavy pruning of trees, And if we say no now, our next chance to get this done will be in 60 to 100 years. So I support this, and I hope my fellow councillors do as well.
Councillor Sargent. Would anyone wish to speak against? Put the motion to the vote. All those in favour? Motion against? Motion carried. 18.1, council members, committee members and CEO of communication agreement. Is there any additional information? Council have any questions? No? Would someone like to move that way? Moved Councillor Rouse, seconded Councillor Acker. Do either councillors wish to speak?
Yes, thank you, Your Worship. Just briefly, I'm in support of the officer's recommendation to adopt the councillors, committee members and CEO communications agreement. And just got a few points that I want to highlight the importance of how this agreement is drafted for the people of Kwinana and this council. Over my 8 years on council, one of the things I'm proud of is the strong and respectful relationship this council has with our executive and senior officers and staff. Compared to many other local governments, we have always enjoyed better access, open communication and a genuine partnership in working towards the best outcomes for our community. This new agreement simply formalises the way we already operate. It doesn't bring about any real change because our culture is already built on mutual respect, accessibility and trust. What it does do is set clear expectations and reinforce the positive working relationships we value so much. I'm confident that with this agreement in place, we will continue building on that foundation, ensuring councils are well supported, staff feel respected, and the people of Kwinana benefit from the good governance and collaboration. Thank you.
Councillor Acker.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Agree with Councillor Rouse. And for those watching at home, this agreement is mandatory under the State Local Government Act reforms. And if we don't adopt it, a default model would apply. So this keeps control here in Kwinana, and it gives us a clear process for accessing information and engaging staff. Thank you.
Put the motion, or does anyone wish to speak against? Put the motion to the vote. All those in favour? Against? Motion carried. Item 18.2, council policy review, which I believe there's an amendment. Is everyone aware of the amendment? So the note is that the amendment 18.21 has been amended to reflect that current serving Defence Force members will be eligible for a group membership discount. Everyone's aware of that? Yep. Does anyone have any questions? Councillor Brown?
Yep. So outside of the meeting, I did ask just for clarity on in the tracked changes version of the document, it did mention that Waypol was in disagreement with a point that was in the existing policy, and that's since been changed. So perhaps just so out of transparency, if the city could reiterate the answer to me.
So what was offered to the police was free membership to the Requatic, the same as what the Bushfire Brigade and the Volunteer Kwinana Fire and Rescue have. However, the police, I think it's the Police Integrity Unit, determined that it's not something that they would allow the police officers to uptake. Hence the reason why the group membership discount was then put in place, because that was acceptable to the police integrity.
My other question was just a point of clarity. Does the defence kind of members already have a discount or kind of benefit, or is we adding to?
Mr. Mayor, no, they don't have from the city for a Requatic membership. They don't receive a membership discount at the moment, so this will add them into the group discount option.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Any other questions? Councillor Sargent?
Thank you, Mayor Feasy. Could the city please speak to in 18.2.6 when you are discussing community organisations being able to apply for a waiver to use a city policy. I'm aware that our booking system is Space to Go. Do you mind giving some clarity of how a community organisation has the option to apply for a waiver, please?
Through you, Your Worship. So community groups can apply in two ways. They'll either put their tentative booking into the system and tick a box in the system to say they'd like to apply for a fee waiver. The team will then send them a application link to apply on Smarty Grants. That's then evaluated, decision made dependent on the type of activity, if it does meet community functions, and then a discount's applied to their booking. Alternatively, they can talk to the team and have a conversation about options for fee waiver. They'll get sent the link prior to the booking going in, put their application in, then they receive a discount code. When they process their booking, that code will be applied to their booking in Space to Go.
Sure.
Thank you, Mayor Feasy. Is there any process currently around some of our community groups are not technologically savvy, that can they contact to be walked through that process? Thank you.
Through you, Your Worship, absolutely. So the community facilities officers will either meet with a community member in the library, show them how to create a page, log on, set up their both Smarty Grants and Space to Co application, we'll absolutely teach them how to do it. We might do that multiple times to make sure someone has learnt the skills to do it. We would definitely teach them that.
Any other questions? Councillor Penny?
Thank you. In terms of the event funding, could you speak to the pool of funds that's available and what limits exist for community groups and organisations to apply for those funds?
Through you, Your Worship. So a community event is up to $10,000. A really good example is the Medina Festival receives $10,000 of event funding for their application to hold that's community event specific.
Yeah, great. As a follow-up question, is there criteria around community groups or organisations applying through multiple pools of funds over the space of a year, or how is that looked at, or for the same event or activity? How if there's a sort of a mosaic of initiatives, how's something like that determined?
Through your worship, I actually need to correct myself. My apologies. It's $5,000 for community events. I just realised we've got so many different categories. My apologies. For community groups, if they're applying over a year, there's certain categories that they can receive different funding for. If it's for an event, it's $5,000 maximum for that event, so they wouldn't receive a fee waiver on top of the $5,000 for events. But there are other categories that they may be able to apply for as well.
Great. And one final question. It's really great that this policy really clearly aligns the objectives of the strategic community plan as like a criteria for approving community funding. I'm aware as well that in terms of that, fostering innovation, empowering community and encouraging community capacity building, in order for community groups to really maximise and to use these funds, do they need to be incorporated bodies?
Through you, Your Worship. They do need to be incorporated. If a group isn't incorporated and we see a potential start-up opportunity, we'll look at alternate options for them to, say, run a one-off event. It might be partnering with city staff because it's aligned with our strategic objectives and a specific area. Alternatively, we will find opportunities for another organisation to auspice that group as a one-off event to help get that, if it's an event or program, up and running.
Thank you. And through the chair as well, it's fantastic to really encourage these community-led, community-driven events and initiatives, and I think that's, testament to the place plans and to the strong history of community engagement we've got in Kwinana that really supports local people, their creativity, the opportunities that they see, and that the city's enabling people to realise their potential and what they see as an opportunity for their community. And given the link to the strategic community plan as well. In terms of, being an incorporated body, that also comes with significant insurance and additional costs and considerations. Has the City of Kwinana, is there an appetite or is there interest in looking at how the city might support community organisations either to become incorporated, and once they are incorporated, how to deal with the insurance burden that comes with that? I'm aware that City of Vincent have got a policy or a funding round where community organisations can apply for support with their insurances. And my interest through the chair is what appetite has there been in the city for that kind of investigation?
Yeah, I think we'll take it on notice,
I'll
because we
take
actually
that one
kind
on
of
notice.
have wandered off the policy. So the director will come back to you with an answer. Any other questions? Councillor Brown?
Thank you, Your Worship. Apologies if I'm also wandering.
No
But my question
preambles,
is in
Councillor
relation
Brown?
to... Sorry?
No preambles.
No preambles?
Straight to your question.
Straight to my question. So also around the event funding and the mentioned kind of limits, for example, $5,000. With the kind of rising costs that community groups have faced over the years, there is a sense that perhaps those limits don't go as far as they once used to. Has the city kind of reviewed that limit in light of those rising costs, either to potentially increase that limit or to support in other ways?
Through you, Your Worship, I will take that on notice. It is something that we have recently started discussing, but I will take it on notice and come back for that question too.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Someone like to move that way? Moved. Councillor Sargent, seconded Councillor Rouse. Councillor Sargent.
Thank you, Mayor Feasy. I encourage my fellow councillors to support this document. It is very clearly outlined how the city is utilising rate funds for maximum benefit for community by empowering community with tools, resources and knowledge and capability. It's not just we're going to give you this little bit of money and best of luck to you. There is a wraparound service. As someone that has seen the outcomes of the city's support through grant funding, how the team has done this is very well. The document is very clear. You've got line of sight on how the funds are being spent, and I highly commend you for your work. Thank you.
Councillor Rouse.
Thank you, Your Worship. Yes, I too am in support of the motion and the changes made to these policies, being mainly to include the update policy template, administrative changes and improvements to functionality and clarity. And I concur with Councillor Penny's statements during the questions and Councillor Sargent's statements during her debate regarding the support for the community groups. In particular, I do want to thank the city for including my late amendment to the use of Kwinana Aquatic Facilities Emergency Personnel Policy. I'm proud to support this amendment that grants current serving Australian Defence Force personnel the same group membership discounts to the Kwinana Aquatic as has previously been afforded to our police and DFS officers. This is a practical way of recognising the service and sacrifice of our defence members while also encouraging their health, well-being and connection with our community. It not only supports those who serve our nation, but also strengthens the bond between defence families and the City of Kwinana. By supporting this amendment and the policy as a whole, we are showing respect, creating opportunities for greater participation and reinforcing that Kwinana is welcoming, supportive and grateful of those who protect us and keep us safe, no matter whether that be on the thin blue line, the thin red line or the front line. Thank you.
Anyone speak against? No, I put to the vote all those in favour. Against? Motion carried. Council payment. Any questions? Any additional information? Any questions, councillors? Anyone like to move that way? Moved, Councillor Sargent. Seconded, Councillor Wood. Would either councillors wish to speak? Anyone speak against? Put the motion to the vote. All those in favour? Against? Motion carried. There's nothing on item 19, 20. There is no late or urgent business. Reports of elected members. Deputy Mayor? Councillor Acker? Councillor Brown? You sure? Councillor Penny?
I just might mention that I got to see a couple of amazing shows at Colin Arts Centre last weekend. The Dolly Parton drag show was fantastic, and then the absolutely stunning space music on Saturday night, and then also attended a pretty special event at the footy club as well. So had a very social weekend in Kwinana, and couldn't be prouder of our city and the opportunities that are available to local residents.
Councillor Rouse? You don't want to report the new sewage pipes in the Strand? No? Okay. Councillor Sargent?
Thank you, Mayor Feasy. Last Saturday night, my husband Chris and I purchased tickets to the Kwinana Knights Football Club fundraiser. For the purpose of transparency, I have declared on the gift register today that I won the $100 cash back on the night, and my extremely ecstatic, very lucky husband, who's never won anything before, won the $5,000 major prize ticket. Chris and I donated $2,500 back to the Kwinana Knights Football Club, and the other remaining funds will be donated to a domestic violence survivor victim within Kwinana. I wish to congratulate all involved in running a wonderful community event that had a great turnout to support the club, and the football community of Kwinana are just top blokes, basically. It was a fantastic evening, and I highly recommend next year when they do the next one to give it a crack.
I think you forgot the women also at that club, but I believe that they're in the finals.
The ladies are wonderful as well, but the gentlemen were hosting the evening. I'll stop there.
Councillor Wood, did you win anything?
I went to the Kwinana Cup, which was at my darts tournament. Sorry, same weekend. Unable to be in two places at once.
Did you win?
Oh no, it was. I wasn't playing. I was helping. There were 18 teams, and about 15 of them were from out of Kwinana. So it was a big weekend. I performed all those duties required of me, and along with other councillors, I attended the Vietnam Veterans Service. On the 13th of August, I, along with Councillor Kearney, attended the Access Inclusion Reference Group, and we were introduced to the new City Officer, Bruce Gordon, who will be taking over from Emily Strange, who's taking maternity leave. A communication board for those with disabilities will be displayed at the front desk of the aquatic. That has, if someone is deaf or can't, or mute, or has some other disability, it's a board that has pictures on it, and people can point to what they want rather than having to verbalise it. Where I'm up to. That's going to be displayed at the front desk at the aquatic. And a disability emergency planning forum is going to be held in Kwinana on the 2nd of December this year. It's a resource. It's a resource in individual planning. It's a source on individual planning tools for people with disability. For those interested, they have to register to attend. And on the 3rd of December, it's the International Day of Disability. I'd just like to remind people of that. And we also had the Mosaic Care team giving a talk on what services they provide. Their logo is Learn to Adult, and it's all about people with disability understanding their rights, understanding consent, understanding on how to behave like an adult rather than a young adult or a child. It supported decision making, looking at questions such as what is an adult and what is control. It's based in Jandakot, but they're visiting Kwinana at the moment. Their contact details will be added to the Kwinana website. They provide decision road making tools which are clear and step by step. It needs to be paid for. I believe it's about $80 a session, but if people are on the NDIS, they will on that plan, and it's in that plan, they'll get it paid for. On the 14th of August, I attended the Citizens Consultative Network chaired by Alcoa. Just some facts given to us about the Kwinana facility are 86% of electricity used comes from renewable energy. Approximately 70% of the assets operate on thermally evaporated excess water. The Alcoa Kwinana is also the home to the Global Operational Excellence Centre of Excellence worldwide. There are still approximately 60 workers at Alcoa in Kwinana. There are still 6 active residue storage areas, 2 inactive storage areas and 1 relinquished. The total storage of water at the site is 3.9 gigalitres. There's a planned increase in the use of water for dust control. They're actually putting in what they call water cannons. They're massive, which will run, and they automatically turn on depending on the wind direction and all sorts of other variables to put fine sprays of water over the dust. It's quite clever really what they can do nowadays. And also infiltration systems have been installed for long-term resilience. The water treatment plant produces 320 litres per hour, plus 2 solids, one's alumina and the other is carbonates. They're putting in these new thermal, they're large as well, these new thermal evaporators. I didn't really understand the whole thing, but they're putting in these big thermal evaporators. They're taking some of the ground around the ponds out and making them firmer, pushing them down, making them firmer, placing these thermal evaporators on which are near the ponds, and they'll run on generators and they produce water. Let me see. I think that's it. Thank you.
There is nothing. Item 23, mayoral announcements. The only major thing that I attended was the 59th anniversary of the Vietnam Veterans Day at Medina, which was quite well attended. And I also attended a careers expo today at the Zone, which was quite well attended by service providers, and there was quite a good number of young people there. There is nothing at item 25 or item 26. I declare the meeting closed at 6:45. 7.